Dear listeners, there's no doubt that the success of this world and the hereafter lies in following the religion of Islam, and not following the religion of Islam is our failure in this world and the hereafter. If we know that every order of God and every sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, will save us from the terrible sufferings on the day of resurrection, we will never be negligent in following the orders of God and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Abu Abdullah Hakim Tirmidhi, in his book, has mentioned this narration that once the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, came to a group of companions in his mosque and said, "Last night I saw amazing things in my dream. I saw a man from my ummah that the angel of death came to capture his soul, but his act of good behavior towards his parents came and drove the angel of death away from him. I saw a man from my ummah who was surrounded by the torment of the grave, and finally his ablution came and saved him. I saw a man from my ummah who was surrounded by demons, but his dhikr came and saved him. I saw a man from my ummah who was surrounded by the angels of punishment, but in the meantime his prayer came and saved him. I saw a man from my ummah who was dying of thirst. When he went to the hods, people push him and don't let him drink water. Meanwhile, his fast came and quenched his thirst. I saw that all the prophets of God are sitting in different circles. When a man from my ummah wanted to sit with them, they all lifted him from their side. Meanwhile, his purification bath came and held his hand and made him sit next to me. I saw a man from my ummah who was surrounded by darkness from above and below and from all sides. At the same time, his Hajj and Umrah came and took him out of this darkness and brought him to the light. I saw a man from my ummah who wanted to speak to the believers, but they don't speak to him. Meanwhile, his good behavior with kith and kin came and announced to talk to him, so they started talking. I saw a man from my ummah removing the flames from his face. Meanwhile, his charity came and a veil became over his face and a shadow over his head. I saw a man from my ummah that the angels of punishment had captured him from all sides, but meanwhile his calling to goodness and forbidding from evil came and freed him from their hands and united him with the angels of mercy. I saw a man from my ummah kneeling down, and there's a veil between him and Allah. But in the meantime, his good manners came and took his hand and led him to God. I saw a man from my ummah that his book of deeds coming towards his left hand, but the fear of Allah came and it gave the book of deeds in his right hand. I saw a man from my ummah that the weight of his good deeds was getting lighter and the weight of his sins was getting heavier. Meanwhile, his good behavior towards people and giving more than what was right came, that bent down the scale of his deeds. I saw a man from my ummah standing on the edge of hell. Meanwhile, his shivering from God's fear came and saved him from hell. I saw a man from my ummah who was turned upside down to be cast into hell. Meanwhile, his crying from God's fear came, and his tears saved him. I saw a man from my ummah who was trembling like a dry palm leaf from the fear of God on Sirat bridge. Meanwhile, his good hope with Allah came that removed his fear and he crossed the bridge. I saw a man from my ummah that he was falling repeatedly on Sirat bridge. Meanwhile, his sending salutations upon me came, it held his hand and straightened him and he crossed the bridge safely. I saw a man from my ummah who reached the gate of paradise, but the gate was closed. At that time the testimony of La ilaha illallah came and it has opened the doors for him and took him to paradise. Imam Qurtubi mentions this hadith in his compilation with reference to Hakim Tirmidhi and says that this hadith is very long. It mentions all the specific actions that will get rid of specific troubles on the day of resurrection.